Last year, I created some nautical chain links and I wanted to try to do it a little bit different this year. So I have found the best product to use for this is the Crayola Model Magic, and I'm gonna be using 2 different packages that are 8 ounces in size. If you buy the big container, it has 4 packages inside, so we're just gonna be using 2 to make 2 links. So start by taking your model clay out of the package, and then you're just going to roll it up. I rolled it out as evenly as possible until it got to a long tube size. I was bringing the edges in to see if it was like the right size that I wanted it to be. Once I was happy with the length, I created another one. So I rolled another piece of the Model Magic out and I made them the exact same size. Next, I cut off one of the ends with one of my Cricut cutters so that it was nice and straight. And then to attach them, I used a little bit of hot glue to hold one of them in place. Now I wanted them to be linked together, so I just placed the tube through one of the others and hot glued the other one in place. Now I let this sit overnight, and one of them I kind of propped up as it was sitting to dry so that they weren't sitting completely flat. And then the next day I used some yarn that I had in my stash, and I wanted to cover up where those 2 ends met. And I'm gonna start by hot gluing it on the back side, and I'll wrap it around so it covers. I did about 1.5 inch thickness on the yarn. So I did that on one side. I also did it on the other side where I closed up the chain. Model Magic actually takes a while to dry and set up, so I let it sit out another night, and here's how it looks in my home. I hope you guys could go shopping at Dollar Tree soon, because I feel like in this video I'm showing you so many of the new products that they have out. Another item I found was this wood scallop tray. These are so cute, and I feel like scallop is definitely in this year at Dollar Tree. For this next project, you're gonna need 2 of the wood scallop trays. You're also going to need these little adorable glass candle holders. I bought 3 of these. I wanted the scallop trays to be a lighter color, so I'm gonna be using this sample paint color that I had, and I'm gonna paint 2 coats on my trays. And I'm going to be having them flipped over so you can see the bottom side. So I made sure that the bottom side was what I painted. Once I had that painted, I'm gonna come back in with Rub and Buff and a foam brush, and I'm going to lightly put the gold Rub and Buff around the edges of the scallop. I felt like this would help that detail really stand out, that scallop border. Now, once all my painting was done, I'm going to assemble 2 of the glass containers on top of each other with some E6000. And then I'll place one of the wood trays on top of that glass container. And I'll do the same thing with one of the glass candle holders. I'll put E6000 on the top of it and put on my other wood scallop tray. Now, if you haven't guessed, I'm making candle holders. Once these dry, I put them with some white candles that I already had. I found these new picture frames and I loved the cutout detail on them. So with one of them, I wanted to make a picture frame to set out in my living room. I started by going down about 1/3 of the way, and I'm gonna be using painter's tape on one side to tape it off. Next, I'm gonna be using black paint, and I'm gonna paint the lower edge with a foam brush. I didn't go into any of like the inner areas. I just did a surface level painting, and then I also added my paint to the edge. I did 2 coats of this. And once I had the second coat done, I pulled off the painter's tape. And once it was completely dry, I found a picture of me and my husband that I wanted to put in the frame. And then using that existing piece, I just marked around where I needed to cut. I cut out the picture and added it back in the frame. And here's how it looks in my living room. Now this next project is a little bit out there, but it turned out really well, so I have to show you this DIY. So start by filling up a balloon. So I just blew up a balloon and then I'm going to set it into some kind of dish. I just found a glass container to hold it in place. You're also going to need a set of wood rings. You can get wood rings at Dollar Tree, but I was wanting a variation in size, so I will put the link to the one I bought on Amazon down below. There's so many different sizes you can get with these wood rings. So I started at the top and I put the largest wood ring at the top. Then using a combination of E6000 and hot glue, I put that onto my rings to connect them together. Now, as I was adding these to the balloon, I was worried that the hot glue was going to pop my balloon, which luckily it didn't, but I was also worried about putting too much glue on. So I tried to use as little glue as possible, and I was also trying to make it so there wasn't a lot of space in between my rings, if that makes sense. So I added them on and I tried to make them as level as possible, but I knew this bowl was not going to be perfect because I was using all different kinds of rings. So once I got them all on there, I let this sit overnight. And then the next day, once it was all set, I came back in, and this was kind of fun, popped the balloon. And then I pulled off the balloon, and from there I just tried to get any excess glue off of there. I kind of went back and forth whether I should paint it or not. You could probably see more of the glue because I didn't paint it, but I really liked the look of the wood rings. So you'll have to let me know what you think of this sculptural bowl. So in my pantry, I wanted to make an apothecary style jar just for like little items like our candies and our gums. So when I was shopping at Dollar Tree, they have these really nice glass containers that shut really well. So I picked up 3 of those. And then for my labels, I went on Etsy and I found these gorgeous labels that you could print, and they were a direct download. So I bought those. I will link to the Etsy labels I bought in the description box, but you just print them out on your printer. I picked 3 of my favorites, cut them out. And then to add them, I'm using the blue Mod Podge because that's a matte finish. I just added a little bit of Mod Podge to my glass jars, placed the labels down, and then added a little bit of Mod Podge over the top. I did go through and take off any excess Mod Podge because I find that sometimes you can kind of see it once it dries. So that helped by removing any excess. So I did that for all 3 of the labels. Here's how they look in my pantry. I just added in some of our favorite candy. Hey guys, I'm Liz and you're watching my second DIY channel where I post daily DIY videos. You may be familiar with my main channel, Liz Fenwick DIY, but I'm glad that you found me over here on my second channel. Make sure that you're subscribed so you just get notified every day when I post our daily DIY video.